This one that I took, it was that you were so small and the tub was big. And so what we thought that you wanted to get in there, you wanted the bubbles. So I found this little bucket, little baby bucket, and I put it inside the tub.
John Merchant III from Monticello, New York. Grew up and raised in Monticello. I was one of those kids who was real quiet, not very loud.
John H. Merchant III. He was always a blessing. Growing up, he never gave any trouble.
I transitioned from Monticello and I went to high school in Tri-Valley. My mother was the one who kind of pushed me to Tri-Valley because it was more of an academic school.
John was hanging around family members that I felt really wasn't a good influence on him. So my desire was to get him out of the Monticello area.
When I moved to Tri-Valley, I kind of lost touch with those guys because they felt like I left. I did. And like I left them.
Yo, D! Yo, this is one of my cousins I grew up with. Yeah, feel me? That's literally what I'm about to do. How you, man?
I'm alright, you been?
I'm chilling, man. I can't complain.
The path that we both chose were very, very different. And I lost track with those guys, and it helped me because it helped me figure out who I really was.
And I know it was hard for him, but I felt like he needed to be somewhere that he really didn't know so many people, and he would not be a follower anymore. And I tell you, when I took him to Tri-Valley, he just went for the stars.
And my mother, she was such a hard worker. She was just like, she was the rock of my family. She did everything she could possibly to want better for me. We learned from my sister, you know. My sister was the troublemaker. She was the one getting kicked out of school.
Yep. This is the yard when you just out there playing in the leaves. Always very, very close.
I watched and learned from her mistakes, and I didn't want to make the same mistakes. And seeing how frustrating and hard it was for my mother to go through those things with her, so.
She was trying to pick you up. She was always trying to pick you up because she felt like she was bigger than you and she was the boss. Look at your little Jordans there, see?
I remember the first time I saw John. It was at a modified basketball game. Our cousin played modified, the worst. He was the only black kid on the team.
When I moved with my mother and we moved to Tri-Valley, I didn't want to be there. I didn't like the school at all. I went from a school where there was more diverse to a school that was predominantly white.
Every time he caught the basketball, it was a turnover. Every time.
I was one of those kids who grew up with a father who played basketball and was incredible at basketball. He was one of the best basketball players around.
What's the name of the road? Why did you finish now? He has scored at least. They beat them last night?
No, had one by one.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. They beat Chris Taylor last night?
Nah, they played Mike's team. He was that great as a player, but the only issue was that I wasn't as good as he was. I think people sometimes gave me credit just because he was my father, but in all reality, I wasn't good at all.
First person to ever just understand that he needed to make it a lifestyle, that it couldn't just be playing in the season, that he needed to commit himself 100% to the game of basketball if he wanted to achieve his dream, which then it seemed really far-fetched.
The person who made me feel the most comfortable in that situation was a guy who kind of adopted me as a son, and not literally, but really speaking, he took on the role as the second father for me, and that was Jason Semo.
John Merchant, first experience, first time I met him, I was walking through the gym, Tri-Valley, and I was in the middle of a workout with some of my varsity players. John was a little guy, probably 6th, 7th grade at the time, just walking through the gym. And as we were in the middle of our workout, he kind of called me out and says, "Hey, coach, I'm gonna be your guy. You know, I'm gonna be the superstar." And I said, "Oh yeah, John," and he goes over and tries to slap the backboard. You know, barely getting a piece of the backboard.
He was probably the most influential person, one of the most influential people that came into my life and steered and showed me the right ways and worked on great habits and tried to get rid of bad habits.
I remember literally Simo had a rule, 10th and 11th grade, we were not allowed to shoot three-pointers, not one player on our team. Simo is so strict on his rules. I shot a 3 versus Monroe Woodbury. Man called the timeout and made me do 50 push-ups in front of the whole team. Called the second timeout to make sure I did all 50 before he started the game back.
I made a comment back to him, "John, if you're going to be the next superstar, you're going to have to figure out how to work pretty hard." And that's probably the way that I would characterize John the most. You know, he's got a ton of athletic skills and just some potential through the roof, but you know, his driving force is his work ethic. That's been the staple of John's career.
And he'll admit that. Everyone that knew him back then would admit that for him to play professional basketball, for him to play college basketball, he would have to improve tremendously. But every year he did. Every single year he got better, to the point that he's leading our team his senior year to the first ever Section 9 championship in school history.
This is when we won sections. We are the first time we won the sections that game. First time ever in school history us winning. Ever in school history.
My name is David Seegers. I played at Dallin College from 2006 to 2010. I was a teammate of John Merchant from 2008. For 2 years he played on my team.
He had went for a couple of different colleges, and Dallin College accepted him. I had a very difficult time when he went to Dallin because that was the first time. It was one thing when John was going to camps, because he went to every camp. His father made sure he went to every single camp every year, basketball. And but when he went to college, it was like I was really losing my baby. Like he wasn't my baby anymore. So when he went to college, it was a really good move for him, but it wasn't such a good move for me.
So when Merch went to college, at Dallin College, we were all rooting for John. You know, I know personally, Division II basketball, you know, even his dominance as a senior, you know, was still for a small school, Class C. You know, he was fortunate to be at a Division II level school. And I think it was either his teammates or his coach even mentioned to him, like, "Hey, listen, you know, this guy's not going to do a ton for us the first year. He's going to take a year. He's going to redshirt."
His first year he just wasn't ready. He was kind of a bum. I'll be honest with you, bro, you ain't have it. Kane ain't talk about you when we came out. It was like, we got a good student. He works hard and he's gonna help us in practice, but he ain't gonna play immediately. He ain't really told me that, yo. But the next year, John came in as like, I was a junior already, and John was a freshman. And the first game, like even the first practice, you could tell like, this kid worked hard all year, all the time. He was like a kid that just worked hard all the time. So we came back for my junior year, and he was a freshman, and he was ready. Like, he was ready to be out there on the court. He was a shooter, and he played his role. He was a great defender when I first met him. He was a great shooter, but he worked hard. UMass came, and that changed it for me, boy. It's a fact. That changed it.
Checking the game, boom. Nervous now. You know, the guy I'm guarding is way bigger than me. I'm nervous. I get the ball, and the first shot I take is deep. It doesn't hit anything but the back. Boom! Comes off. I'm like, oh, it's gonna be one of those type of days.
After the first shot hit the backboard on the other side, that was nasty. That was nasty.
I had to turn myself into a shooter.
After that, I always felt confident giving you the ball. Even after that first one that hit the great.
But I finished the game very, very well.
Huge performance. First game, it was an exhibition game against UMass.
15 points against UMass my rookie season, which was well.
And it was kind of like he can compete at this level. You know, not just at the Division II level, but I mean he's playing against a Division I school and producing. So it was eye-opening for sure for all of us. From there, you know, he went on, played 4 years, 1,000-point scorer for Dowling College. He missed 1,000 in high school by 6 points. So it just shows you that, you know, at one of the lowest levels in our area in high school, he wasn't a 1,000-point scorer. And then at the Division II level, playing people like UMass, he's hitting that 1,000-point mark. So, I mean, it just speaks volumes to his work ethic.
You take some good ones and some bad ones, right?
Word. They go in.
Word.
That's how you get 1,000 points, right?
That's a fact.
You know how frustrating it is to never be given the credit you deserved? I'm sick of seeing my mother struggle. I get the opportunity, I had to work hard and sacrifice. My rookie season, I played well, and I was one of those kids that I developed because of all the hard work, but I was my worst critic. I never had a great game, say that. I had decent and good games, but I've never had a great game.
This time, you know, with me, you know, even with college and everything else, there was a lot of times where John would call me, you know, late at night, frustrated, you know, concerned, disappointed, you know, whether he wasn't playing the way that he wanted to.
I put so much pressure on myself that no one else can tell me what I did wrong.
I was always careful with John to make sure that, you know, John had to understand that, you know, he never got anywhere in life by just being handed something. Everything was about his work ethic and how hard he worked, and he had to earn it. So for me, it was always trying to get John to see, you know, the other side of things, getting John to accept that, you know, if you work through this, you know, you'll be okay, and just trust the process.
I pushed myself harder than what anybody could push you, to the point where after college games, I would be there and I'd get so mad, even after wins, so mad at myself.
I remember one game, just to give you a peep of the type of fighter he was and how hard he was on himself. We had a game against a team from DC. I was a senior year, and I had got hot in the last later parts of the game. We started to come back, and he wasn't playing well. And he's like angry, like frustrated with himself. And the reason why he was mad, I spoke to him at the end of the game. The reason why he was mad, he said he was mad because he wasn't there to help. That's just the type of pressure he put on himself, and it was actually a gift and a curse.
So now all my teammates had to fight with me to get me back into the game because I was mentally finished. And but it never deterred me from working hard. I used to beat my body up so much to the point where I started developing knee problems.
At that time, he started having, they called it jumper's knee. And they told me, Mrs. Merchant, you have to come get him because he's having a lot of problems with his knee.
Ended up that I had patellotendinitis in both knees. I was diagnosed with my doctor with patellotendinitis, and I had a slight tear in my right meniscus. So they told me, they were like, listen, you know, let's at the end of my junior year of basketball, you know, decent year, let's try to think about this surgery just to clean your knee up.
So April 8th, John had gone in for a routine knee surgery. We'd spoken the day before, you know, just about things would be good, you know, we're going to rehab, we're going to train, you know, get back where you need to be for your senior year.
No big deal, he's gonna be in and out. I said, well, I'll stay. And they told me, Miss Merchant, you don't really need to stay because it's really not a big deal. It's 45 minutes, go get you something to eat and come back. Well, I stayed in the room until they took John back. And I was getting ready to get my oil changed, but I didn't for some reason. And they called me and they asked me to come back. So when I went back, they called me in the office and sat me down and said, Mrs. Merchant, John coded.
As I go under anesthesia, during the end of the procedure, my heart stopped and I died. I coded.
I just couldn't imagine them telling me that my son coded when I came here for a knee. And so they had to tell me several times. And I just went in a total panic, like, oh my God. But then I said to myself, Carolyn, if I don't hold myself together, then what's gonna happen?
Doctor revived me, table. Ambulance came, rushed me, was rushing me to the hospital, you know, and then in the ambulance, my heart stopped again. As I got to the hospital, I was hooked up to a bunch of tubes and wires and stuff, and my heart stopped for the third time. I was only revived through a machine, and at this point, they told my mother, listen, John's only breathing through this machine. There's a strong chance he's not gonna make it.
The doctor stopped me and said, you need to prepare yourself because the way you left your son is not the way you're going to see him now. So before I went in the room, I made sure that I called his sister because they were extremely close. And his father was already there, my pastor, and I went in the room and I saw my son hooked up to all these things in the room. Like, it was just, I felt like I was in a nightmare.
One of the scariest moments of my career. Mom promised she'd call me as soon as he got out of the surgery. So sure enough, you know, I get the phone call, pick up, hey, how's everything going? You know, how's he doing? And just to hear that horrifying silence on the other end, and she said, Coach John died. And I just remember, like, you know, the feeling in my stomach, you know, and just not understanding. And I said, what are you talking about? How did that happen? And, you know, she started going into John's surgery and how they were trying to, you know, bring him back off the anesthesia, and then all of a sudden, you know, it flatlined. And I just remember the panic and the helplessness in his mom's voice, and rushing into the hospital, and, you know, there John was, you know, in the emergency room, you know, surrounded by his family, his mother coming over, and, you know, and his family just surrounded, you know, she brought me right over to the bed, and there John was, you know, just hooked up to all the machines, the ventilator, and, you know, all these monitors and everything, and, you know, immediately, you know, just began to pray with his family.
I thank God that Jason Seymour and another parent that was very close with John, because all the parents and all the basketball teams and everybody was there, and they said to me, Mrs. Merchant, we need you to stop and think for a minute. We're not going to let him sit in this hospital in Middletown and die.
We got transferred to the Westchester Hospital, ran some tests and did some procedures and stuff, and asked my mother, you know, can we take John off of the machines? And she was just like, yeah, you know, if anything, God has the last answer. And as they took me off the machines, I started breathing again through a miracle.
And they were getting ready to take the tube out of the life support off of John because they felt that he could breathe on his own. And I remember just standing there, holding Jason and saying to Jason, you know, about my baby. I didn't care how God gave him back to me because they said that he could be brain dead because there was so much oxygen lost between each coding. And I told Jason I didn't care, just that God would give me back my baby.
It was unbelievable, and talking with his doctors, and, you know, and his status and everything else, and not knowing, okay, you know, we think we can start bringing him back, but, you know, where's he going to be? You know, we weren't worried about basketball anymore. We were worried about John. You know, basketball wasn't even in the mindset. It was more, you know, what are going to be the long-term effects of this?
And I remember me and Jason going into the room, and John just looking like a little wild, like what happened?
You know, he opened up his eyes and the fear in his eyes. And, you know, I remember talking to him and, you know, just telling him, John, you're okay. Just relax. You need you to just calm yourself down. You're okay. And just seeing the tear go down the side of his cheek, and, you know, as helpless as he was right there, it kind of went back to that trust, you know, and it reminded me of that. You know, here we are, John, we're a foot away from the basket again.
He looked at me and they said, do you know who that is? And he says, that's my mommy. And when John said, that's my mommy, I felt like God had just opened the heavens and just smiled on me to give me back my baby. And he looked at Jason, and he knew who Jason was.
And that was a difficult time. That was a very difficult time. You know, very fortunate, you know, a couple months later, just miraculously. I mean, this is just, you talk about miracles, like no other examples of a miracle can I ever speak to than, you know, 2 months later being in a gym where John's telling me, Coach, I can give more. You know, and I think for me, I was just so hesitant to kind of push anymore, because I'm not looking at this kid as, you know, this tremendous athlete that we're looking to continually to push to the next level. It was more like, hey, let's put the brakes on a little bit. You know, the fact that you're even out here walking around and, you know, able to do some things, let's slow down. And now it was John's turn to push. You know, it was his turn to say, Coach, I need more now. I need more now. And that was on him. You know, if it was up to me and his mother, you know, John wouldn't have exerted himself in any means. And you know, and it was that drive and everything else that he had developed through those years that now just took hold.
This is one of the pictures I wanted to take, and the reason I wanted to take it because I wanted John to see where he came from. But I have to tell you guys a funny story. John had a catheter put in him, and John woke up and he had to go to the bathroom, and we told him, just go to the bathroom because you have a catheter in you. And John said, Mommy, I am not going to pee on myself. Until the catheter was taken out. So, but thank God, you know, we look back at these pictures now and we say, God is such an amazing God. He's such an amazing God.
I actually came back to school. They told me I was going to be brain dead and I'll lose all types of memories. And I actually went back to school and finished the year out on honors.
Won the senior award and most valuable player on my team. And I got this at my senior night.
You know you have a motor and you're meant to do something special where you die and you come back and you're still pushing harder than what you was before.
Yo, he's good, he's back. I'm like, all right, good. But they said he can't hoop no more. It's hard, it's over. I'm like, oh, nah. But sure enough, John, you couldn't tell John nothing. He said, man, it ain't never over.
Decent season, second team, all conference, a couple awards. And as I'm finishing college season, I'm like, listen, talk to my big brother, John DeGroat. He's been playing overseas for like 10, 11 years. And we always used to talk back and forth, and we spoke about he plays overseas, and he was just like, yo, man, if you want to do it, you can do it.
Determined, fighter, humble, relentless. Those are just a few words I think of when I think of my bro John. Man, for this kid to overcome so much in his life and still be out here every day pushing and striving is a beautiful thing to see.
I know for someone like me in my position, like that's not in the books. That's not written in the books. That's not. It's impossible for guys like me to play professional basketball. You would have to be coming from Division II. You would have to be exceptional, and I wasn't. So 2 years is rounding, and I'm like, listen, told my father, I might be done. I might be done with this. I might be finished with this. I couldn't go. Every day for 2 years, I would send about 20 to 25 messages to GMs, coaches, clubs and teams. There was this one guy who responded to me. Just one guy. That was Alessandro Moro. And he was an agent from Italy. And he told me about this opportunity. So I'm like, okay, that's my father and my man. And Tori told me to go. I said, I'm gonna go.
You know, we in the gym, we talking, and he said, yo, Tori, man, this agent dude hit me up overseas. And he said, yo, you know, to come over and see what it's about. I just told him, man, yo, do you love ball or do you like ball? You know what I'm saying? So he said, yo, listen, I love ball.
Got on the plane, and I got there, and I got off the plane. Here is this little guy, little Italian guy, who I met on the internet, never seen, and he's there waiting for me. And he said to me, he said, listen, man, I believe in you. You're a strong, tough guy from New York.
He was battling during his fight to trying to get overseas. I remember, you know, me and him were real close, so we had a conversation. I just kept it real with him. I was just like, John, man, we saw there's not another way, because he was working tooth and nail. And, you know, as a friend, you know, I just want to see him succeed and see him get to where he wants to be. You can't do something else instead of spending all this money. And he stopped me right in our conversation. He was like, yo, Mike, this is the only way I know how. I don't have nobody no connection overseas. I don't have anybody that's gonna give me an opportunity.
Off the plane, and we get there, and all the Americans there are mid-major D1 guys. None of them are Division II guys. All of them played Division I, mid-major or higher. I'm the only guy from Division II and has been sitting out for 2 years. And long story short, I performed against some of these very, very, very good Division I guys, and I ended up winning the three-point contest. I was in the dunk contest, and I ended up winning the MVP of the whole tournament.
The winner is John Merchant.
The whole tournament, which was insane. So after I won the MVP of the whole tournament, I was there for about a day or two. So I didn't get anybody who was interested in me. I didn't get no teams that were like, okay, who's this kid? Let's sign him now. I didn't get anything. So the expectations of the trip was a failure, because the ultimate goal was to get signed. I've been waiting for 2 years. Riding back to JFK, I couldn't even talk. Mom and Dad picked me up at the airport, and they're driving me home. You know, we get to a rest stop, and this guy emails me, and the email goes to my phone, and he's like, listen, John, I have a team that's interested. Oh my goodness, my heart is like jumping. But I'm not getting anxious, because I've been down this road before.
And then like 2 weeks later, after that conversation, he told me he got to the showcase in Italy, and he went out there, and next thing I know, he got his first break. He was signed in Italy.
Get another email from this guy. He was like, yo, they're sending you a contract. And as they're sending you a contract, they just want you to sign it. My sister starts going crazy, jumping up and down. We made it, yeah, let's go. She's jumping up and down, throwing everything all over the house. My father is ecstatic. He's not emotional either. He's very low and very nonchalant and relaxed, but he's just ecstatic. Let's go, boy, I knew you'd do it, blah, blah, blah. And my mother just starts crying, just tears, and I couldn't hold it. And I cried.
He went overseas for 2 years to play ball. And of course, even though he went overseas to play ball, I was still worried, because no matter what, of course, that's my baby.
And when I got there, it was totally different, because they don't teach you the game, how it's played over there in America. You know, in my school, we didn't learn, you know, how to play in Europe. You know, we didn't learn about the different concepts you know, and the technical things. You know, we are more geared around our athleticism and our natural born abilities. My coach at the time, we clashed a lot because he pushed me hard and I pushed myself harder. But his idea of basketball was different than mine. And not saying that I was right, you know, I was wrong, but being older and trying to adjust to the way, you know, he was doing things was just difficult to me. His communication with players, it was very very harsh, and yeah, he was one of those coaches. He wasn't afraid to tell you what was on his mind. So if he said it, and his English wasn't 100% at the time, so you know, he would come out how he thought it sounded, even if it didn't sound good in our language. So he would just like keeping it real with me. So
who you know would fly themselves to Europe on their own dime, on a tryout, not guaranteed, go out there, play, not only make the team, get an MVP in the tournament, get a contract, and just grind his way through. I don't know many people that's going to take their hard-earned money, their last bit of money that they make, get a $1,500 plane ticket to go to Europe on a tryout that ain't guaranteed. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, I think his work, his body of work speaks for itself.
You should be involved on GP. That's
barbecue.
At least some of your teeth come in the barbecue.
One of my goals was to complete my first year without getting cut. A lot of guys were getting cut. I was a Division II guy with 2 years out. And I achieved that goal. I didn't get cut.
This is just the beginning. You know, from college, to watch them in college, in high school, and then to go overseas and do what he did over there, and to come back and still work as hard, if not harder, now than when he got there. You see what I'm saying? On the process, on the road to get there.
The fact that his work ethic is crazy. You know, I can remember me and my son, one day we driving through Middletown and it's pouring raining. It's like, I mean, it's pouring. And as I'm driving in the back of Middletown, you got these hills in the back, I see a dude running in the pouring rain. It's like 9 o'clock in the morning. So then I pull up on the side, man, and I see his John running in the rain. And I told my son, if you want to be great, then you gotta have his work ethic.
You gotta just be humble and appreciate the moments, the seconds, the days, the weeks, because you never know, man. You know, it's been a blessing, and just seeing John and hearing his story, I take that now in my 7th year as a professional and continue to, you know, let that inspire me and impact me in the most positive way. And I got so much love for John, and it's great, you know, what he's doing, what he's giving back to his community, and you know, the message trying to continue to share, and he has a wonderful story to tell. And
2016, the summertime, just finished the season, and we got some, you know, conversation with some teams right now, and I'm waiting for my agent to give me a word. And come August, there's no nothing. Every time when I take 2 steps forward, I take 5 backwards. So, got an opportunity to go to Arizona to do a workout, and called this guy before I went. And his name is Jay Fields, and I told Jay Fields, I said, listen, Jay Fields, I'm trying to go out there for a workout. This is my situation.
You know, you have a kid that played Division II basketball, played 2nd Division Italy, then his previous agent put him in a terrible position, which is kind of haunting him as of today. This is going to be a challenge. It's going to be an uphill battle for yourself and our firm, and we're going to do what we need to do as best as we can do to try to get him to really be seen. And we end up, my agent Ricky wanted to take on the challenge. He felt that
Eventually, we can get him something, and we went ahead and signed him.
Ended up signing a contract with Jay Fields. Ended up signing a contract with Jay Fields in the VA Sports. So my agent now is Ricky Prestige.
My name is Ricky Prestige. I'm John's agent with NBA Sports. On the basketball court, he's phenomenal. He's quick hands. He can score. He can drive, and he also can shoot. And on defense, he can definitely play the D at any position. He can play 1, 2, and 3.
The way we're moving now is in the forward direction, and we're just trying to gain some respect back on where I used to be. I appreciate them recognizing, but the journey is not over.
Oh, what's good?
What's up, baby?
What's going on, baby?
Ah, man. What's going on?
How you feeling?
All right, what you doing?
Good, man. I'm out here filming this documentary, John. Let these kids know, man, like, you don't have to, just because you're from here, you don't have to do what somebody else did. You know what I mean? You don't got to be a follower.
No, you're not stuck here.
Right. We know that season's been shaky. Let's keep it real. It's been shaky. Y'all been underachieving. So, there's a lot of things we got to fix. Moving on to next year. Some of us are seniors. One, right? Two. Some of us are seniors, so you can use this to go on to your next term. But we got to clean up some things, man, going into the playoffs.
My name is Ty Gray. A real good friend of John's. I didn't see one of my best friends to get where he's at right now. It's just, it's amazing, especially, speaking to him about, certain things and just him, getting a lot of no's, a lot of ifs, a lot of maybes, with the overseas jump and, trying to get over there. It's just crazy. Just being there, just seeing how hard this man works and just seeing him, just going through it.
So, we did mention, we followed much, along his journey. And outside of, trying to be a connection for him, we didn't have a huge role in his career, in his playing career. We were just kind of support. But then we ended up coming back to New York. He was out in his first year over in Italy, and we started our own training company. We'd been training for a while, trained some NBA guys, but started our own training company and got to a point where we really felt confident that we can help take his game to the next level. Reached out to him when he was in Italy still and said, "Coach, you're looking to put in work when you get home?" Well, always. That's what he said, always looking to put in work.
His motivation and determination was always, something that he just had and something that constantly pushed him, and you never had to ask him to get into the gym. He was always there waiting for you.
If you need somebody to wake you up every morning and say, Ray, you gotta get up. You gotta get up, Ray. You gotta go to practice, Ray. You gotta take these shots. Then you don't want it. You don't want it. Cliche, I'm the first person in the gym and last person to leave the gym. That's cool, but what you doing in the gym to be the last person and the first person there?
Hi, John Rich the third.
Good with you though, man.
I'm chilling, man. I'm trying to. I'm not gonna lie to you, boy. I feel good, Steph. I keep saying that, but that's the facts, boy. I feel good. I feel dumb strong. I'm 190 pounds right now. Fast though, like it's not like 190 pounds like slow.
I have no expectations for John because I don't care how high I make it, he makes them even higher. I desire that he would be happy.
He was always there, willing to do the next workout and open to different types of things. And John's biggest thing was just developing that patience for that process of what it takes to be a great player. He was always a good player, but John had bigger aspirations. He wanted to be the best of what he was capable of being, and that's not something that just happens.
The next thing is when you
come off the receptivity that you had from guys that had played the game and coaches that you were very respectful, asked the right questions to get better. Sometimes athletes have a tendency to be idolized or think they know it all in this generation, but I saw something totally different. I'm a straight shooter. I don't blow smoke up people's tail or telling them what they hear. So I really believe that in the right situation, and the Lord opens up that door for you as being a young man of faith in your craft, watching you on videos, working on your game when nobody's watching you, the skill and drills and stuff that you've been doing. That stuff pays off, man. I talked about it in my interview that if you put the work in when nobody's looking, God sees that, and you will definitely get where you need to be at for His purpose, man. So I believe it's just a matter of time for you to be a household name. I'm speaking already in existence that it'll happen for you. The commitment that you're telling your story to encourage and help young people, because it is a difficult craft of being a professional athlete and basketball player. So I just want to continue to encourage you, man, to keep working hard, keep believing in faith that it'll be done. You have to speak things that even though you don't see it, but believe that it will be done, man. So,
Mr. Weathers, I truly appreciate that. That means so much to me, man.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Hard work is not what I do. It's become who I am. And I will continue to do this until I reach my ultimate goal, despite any doubt.
I am so excited. I am here with an exclusive one-on-one interview with Mr. I'm going to say the shirt because I see the shirt. It says Mr. Unstoppable.
I want him to do whatever his heart desires. So because it's all about him, it's at this point it's not about me. He has made me the happiest woman in the world.
Yo, all y'all got talent in here, man. All y'all. All of y'all got talent, man. Maximize your potential. The world is yours, man. Be the best you can be, man. Fat, yo, good luck, y'all.
So my question to you, we talked about what you're doing. My question to you now that I brought you back is because we want to know what you're doing right now with your basketball career.
As of right now, the story has never changed. As far as when I first started, it's always been grinding. Like I've always been grinding since beginning of basketball time for me.
Right.
Non-stop grind is where I'm at right now.
Let me ask you this question because, I hear people say, I'm grinding, I'm hustling. Not, hustling in the bad way, but I'm grinding, I'm hustling, I'm working. And I want to be successful because that's all it's about is working and grinding so we get to being that successful place. What is success to John Merchant?
Success to me is maximizing my potential.
I like that.
Maximizing my potential and playing at the highest level possible. That is my definition of success, and that doesn't involve money.
Right.
It's beyond getting paid for this.
He's hardworking. He's very hard on himself with everything he does. If he does 99, he's gonna stress himself out because he thought he should did 110.
When I left college, I told my mother that I was going to play professional basketball. And for me and for everybody else around me, that's an impossible dream. For where I came from, that's impossible. There's no way you can play professional basketball in where I came from. It's just not possible. So why basketball is because I've grown a passion for it. And I truly believe if you have a passion to do something, and you don't really fulfill and maximize that passion, then you are wasting your time doing whatever you're doing. Why wake up every day and not want to do what you love to do?
John, what's your motivation?
See, when you do things, you gotta find the why for why you do it. My why is I seen my mother take care of me when I was younger and do everything she could to get me whatever I wanted. I see my father sacrifice a lot of things. I see the kids in the community at my, that I can relate to, that have the same dream as I have, that want it.
Right.
when you look at, when you talk about my motivation, is everything around me motivates me.
When John works out, it's not just, it's not your regular workout. And even the guy that works hard, it doesn't even compare to that. Like, he holds himself to a completely different standard. And there's a reason why he really doesn't work out with a lot of guys, why he doesn't surround himself with a lot of guys, because a lot of guys don't get that.
Yo, John is a beast on that club, I'm telling you. Before I be watching his film, he's doing his thing.
I ain't watching, but I heard about him.
Yeah, he motivated me to get where I need to be, of course.
I didn't come from riches. I didn't come from that. All I know is darkness. That's what I know.
Right.
So I know the struggle. Success is something that people where I'm from, we strive for. That's not an option when we're younger.
Right,
so I know the grind.
Right.
Some people don't know the grind.
Right, they just talk about it.
You're born 6'9", 6'5", 6'8", and you've been worshipped all your life until you got to college. You're the number one player here in high school. You're the number one player in college, and everything is set for you. That's not grind.
Right.
You don't know the grind because things are given to you
Right,
at that point. See, I was never given anything.
Right.
Nothing. I come from a small school. I come from a small town where there was a lot of poverty. All of my friends that I ever grew up with, cousins and friends, are all in a gang or in jail right now. I died 3 times and came back. I went to a school where I was the last person on the list of the recruiting list. I didn't become relevant till I was a senior, and I still wasn't that good. I had to go through 2 years and over $10,000 of camps, scouting, agents, etc. to get noticed. All I know is grind. I don't know anything else.
He's a respectable young man, part of a different breed of a small percentage of people here that really know how to work for what they want. Reach their goals, achieve their dreams. I'm just glad that he trusted me with what I know to pass along to him.
Coach March is my trainer at Gym Rats, and he helps me be a better, well-rounded player.
I love you, dog, man, for real. I hope everything is going good, and to continue keep doing you.
The next thing is to keep on elevating and keep on working. Never stop working on what the hell you want in life.
Shouts to John, his family, John Sr., the Mama Merchant, Sister Moochie, the whole family, man.
He's an inspiration not only to his friends and family, but to the whole entire community.
I salute you, bro. The time is coming. Keep on grinding. Love.
That was very important to me that my child and my children look up to the right people. And I couldn't have been more proud that my son wanted to be just like John.
The 2 brain joint.
Be good.
Right there, the 1, 2, and I'm good.
Exactly, you be straight.
Word, that's a fact. Yo, holla at me, man. Let me know what's good.
Alright, bro.
Alright, baby.
Out of all you've been through in this career lane, and all that you've seen, and all the struggle that you endured, and all the work that you put in, who is John, the basketball player?
The person I am now, I would have to, let me break it down like this. I'm gonna break it down like we cooking, right? So we got a pot.
Let's cook.
So in the pot, you're gonna pour in a gallon of desire. Sprinkle in an infinite amount of self-motivation. A pinch of humane, a limitless amount of passion.
Throw that in there. Bam.
An infinite amount of perseverance. Pour some more gallons in of extreme dedication.
Woo, just throw it in the pot.
Infinite amount of resilience.
Unlimited
amount of persistence, grind, and grit.
Right?
And a bunch of optimism, right? An endless amount of striving for success, and you let that simmer, and you have who I am today. And sum that all up into regular terms for the kids is hard work.
I like that. John, I'm not going to lie to you. I have never in my 29 years heard anybody tell me who they are through a recipe. So there is a recipe to success.
There is, and we all have it. We all have it.
You just had to go in the cabinet and figure out what worked for you.
You just gotta get it out.
Listen, y'all, it's your girl Moochie Stratton 845 online radio, reporting live 845, sitting with this one-on-one exclusive with Mr. Unstoppable himself, Mr. J. Merce 30, John, the international ball player. Who are you? Who is he? We are we. Monday through Friday, 6 to 8. We'll be back, y'all.
I've overcome a lot of doubt, and I'm not really focused on the negativity. I gotta be positive and move forward and prepare myself as a professional the best way I can, because the stuff that I go through, I just don't understand sometimes, like why, but you gotta understand that is your journey and this is your story. So I gotta accept it, stop making excuses for it, and push forward. Try to be the best that I can be, and not the best anybody else negatively says that I can.